Hey guys, what's up? Drew, Radio 13.fm. I get the pleasure of sitting down with Christina and Evan from Crimson Overtone tonight. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Doing good. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great, going great. So you got some interesting stuff going on in your lives, I believe. Resurrection Records, newly signed band out of Marietta, Georgia, I believe, right?
That's
Yes,
one.
sir.
Home of what, Family Force 5? They came from there?
Just outside, a little bit to the west.
Okay. My brother,
I think.
Yeah.
my brother lives in Dallas, Georgia, I believe. So it's got to be really
Hey,
close.
me too.
There you go. All right. Nice area. So why don't you tell me a little bit about Crimson Overtone, since I'm not 100% familiar with you. We threw you on the rotation shortly after you signed with Resurrection Records.
Cool. Which song?
We have actually, was it Welcome to Nowhere?
Perfect. Good.
So I think that was your first one with Resurrection Records?
Yes, that was our first with the label.
Yep. I almost put, I believe it was, is it Coffin Black?
Yeah, that's
I
one of
almost-
our
Yep,
bigger ones, definitely.
Yeah, that's a great cut too. So
Did you see the video on that one?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that later. It's kind of crazy, which I kind of dig. So, why don't you give me a little rundown of Crimson Overtone?
Sure. So it happened completely by accident. Um, we were all in 12-step recovery.
We have issues.
Yes, we do. Many issues.
We all
That's why we're in a metal band.
That's right. That's what we say all the time.
But we're all going through 12-step. And my small group, I was kind of voluntold to lead worship for. I was trying to get out of music and try to kind of fade into the background a little bit. And I kept getting put into these situations where I was having to do music and make music and perform music. So eventually my small group's like, hey, can you record one of the songs that you sang for worship? It was just really beautiful. We'd really love to have it. So I went to our music director at the time, Rob, who was playing guitar with us. Now he's producing for us. And he said, oh, cool. So you want to be like famous and stuff. I'm like, no. Like just a little dinky iPhone recording. That's all I need, man. That's all I need. And he's like, no. I'm going to introduce you to my dad, Evan. Not my dad, Rob's dad, Evan.
That one, yeah. Her dad's shorter.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to get it all straight. Go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. But he introduced me to Evan, and between Rob and Evan, they took the stuff that I was writing and morphed it into a very different direction than I ever thought I could go. I was never really a big metalhead growing up. I was more into the theater and the opera and all that stuff. But I have really fallen in love with everything that they've created, and it's just such an honor to be a part of that and to have grown with them. And now, I mean, what God has started, I don't think anybody could really put a stop to at this point unless the Lord tells us it's our time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where what it has become is we look at the challenges as like, man, can we actually complete with this? Can we finish this? Can we make this happen? And then we all come to the conclusions like, well, we have to. Like it's not an option. You know, as many trials and tribulations have come at us, you know, from different directions, and family stuff and financial stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I tell folks all the time, you know, I've tried to quote unquote quit several times, and each time the Lord's like, no, you're not. Here's a new guitar. But, well, I can't quit now.
And he does mean that
literally.
Literally every time he tries to quit, somebody shows up with a guitar.
With a new piece of equipment or something. It's crazy. It's like, okay.
Can you try this
I'm
out?
not quitting.
Yeah, kind of like how Christina said that, you know, she kept trying to get away from it, but she kept getting pulled in and from different aspects. That's not you really relinquishing on your talent or what you want to do. It's God saying, we're going to take your talent and what you do, and we're going to put it to God's work. which I think is cool. And same with you. God has to bribe you with new guitars and new equipment and stuff like
Hey, by the way, I'm quitting next week.
that.
Nothing? Really?
God's got money. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So started in 12-step program. What was your first cut like 3 years ago? So you guys started before that, obviously.
Yes, so as a band, we've been together about 5 years, but we really started producing and releasing music 2 years ago. Like, we put out some singles and such, but I feel like 2022 was when we released our first EP and when we played our very first live show. So, in a lot of ways, I feel like the band really started in 2022. Not to discredit those other years, because they were definitely extremely formative for us in discovering, our sound, our genre, our direction. But we really, really got our start releasing and playing live only about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And solely independent, right? All self-funded and producing. And did you say it's Rob? I'm sorry, Rob is your producer. Was he producing?
Currently, yes. So Evan was producing originally.
You got booted.
Yeah,
you got booted by your kid.
Say what now?
You got booted out by your kid.
Well,
he kicked you out of the way and said, "Dad."
He would say yes, and everyone would laugh.
Nice.
And no, I mean it's the sort of deal. I got some health issues with my ears that I finally decided to not be in denial about. And he actually has worked with a Grammy nominated producer in another genre, and he's very, very talented. And so with his updated, current skill set with multiple platforms, it just made a whole heck of a lot more sense. Fresher ears, updated skill set, and all of that. And he's really passionate about it. That's what he wants to do anyway, is be a producer.
Nice.
And he produces rock and R&B and I guess a variety of pop,
Okay.
if you could call it that. But he's multi-talented. He's also, for Resurrection Records, he is working on some of their hip hop.
Nice. So
Stuff.
like with the Mac and those guys.
Yep. He's very versatile with that stuff. The latest release we just had, which he's really proud of, he did a fantastic job, is our Christmas song. The album's the not the album, but the record label's Christmas song, which is we call it Stronghold, and it's
O Come Emmanuel.
Yep.
Yep. I listened to a little bit of it. It's a pretty cool rendition.
How far did you get with it?
As much as iTunes would let me without buying it.
Oh, well, you should. It's on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you see, if you hear the whole version, it goes from nice fluffy stuff to not fluffy.
I like that a lot. So
I don't have to hear the not fluffy part.
All right. I don't play a lot of Christmas music. I believe all Christian music is Christmas music, right? But I do, once we get closer, I will do a couple live shows with just Christmas music and stuff like that. So we'll probably be adding that to the rotation also, because what I heard of it, I really liked. So
and keep an eye out for everything that Resurrection Records is doing too, because we've heard some of the other upcoming releases from some of the other bands.
Yep.
Woo!
Yeah, Aaron was
really good stuff.
I sat down and talked with Aaron a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me about all the stuff that's coming out, and very, very exciting. So
yeah.
So let's see. Let's start with Black. Is it Coffin Black? Let's start with that. So I would imagine, Christina, did that come from your mind, your soul? Are you the one that came up with it?
Funny story.
We don't tell this version of the story I don't think we've ever told this version of the story on air. So. Now, Coffin Black,
we don't have to if you don't want to.
No, it's good. It's good.
It's a good story. Coffin Black, as it is now, is definitely a very powerful song, and it resonates very deeply with a lot of people. As it is now, lyrically, yes, I did write the lyrics for, both iterations of it.
Yeah.
But it came from a place of just my own grief. dealing with family members that struggle with addiction, and the way that it just completely changes their personalities, and has caused these people that I love so dearly to become quite literally unrecognizable from the person that I knew before. And so it's the grief of losing somebody that's still alive, if that makes sense, where it's a grief that dares to hope that one day they can be healed, but it's a hope that's extremely painful, because the longer it goes unfulfilled, the harder it is to hang on to it. So that's kind of what it is now. But it's funny because I found it, it was a poem that I'd written a long time ago, and I showed it to Evan. I said, hey, look, I found this old poem, I think it'd be a great song. And he pulled out Coffin Black. He said, okay, I'm going to take these 2 words, and then the rest of the poem we're going to put over here, and this is the song now. Coffin Black, Coffin Black, Coffin Black. And that's how the chorus was written.
Nice. So watching the video, and if you haven't seen the video out there, you definitely got to go check it out. Not, you don't have to do it now. Wait till this is over and then go check it out. But the video is very interesting. It's very theatrically done. So where did that come from?
So one of my favorite things about working with Christina is she is a self-professed nerd, which is fantastic. And she also has a background in training in operatic and off-Broadway stuff. That to me is hugely valuable, because it adds this dynamic that most other bands you're just not going to get. There's a whole thought process behind that iteration of that way of thinking, I guess. Of course, it's a thought process, but there's it's just different. You know what I mean? And so out of that, we have a heck of a lot of fun chasing down storyboards and talking back and forth about ideas, production ideas, and things like that. And I'm going to leave the rest to her, but that's really, it's a phenomenal aspect. I love working with her. So you can continue on that.
I mean, it all started with the idea of, hey, I wonder if we could build a coffin.
Oh yeah.
And his brother said, sure.
I want to build a coffin. So I said, sure, you can build a coffin. Sweet.
So, so we got a coffin, and I was like, well, this is fantastic. I'm going to save myself a whole lot of money, because it was built to my dimensions. So I'm like, great, I can die now and it'll be really cheap. But
let's push that off for a few years.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, ideally, we'll wait a little bit before that happens. But I am covered, so we're good. But yeah, I was wanting to portray the idea of the Walking Dead, but not in the zombie sense. This idea that what was it you talked about? Like how in like the Victorian era, they would put these bells out of outside the graves.
Yep.
Where if they accidentally buried somebody alive, you could ring that bell and they'd pull them out. So it kind of came from the idea of that, wanting to portray this sort of buried alive feeling. So we had the 2 different scenes. We had the graveyard where we played, and then we called it the crypt, but it was really his parents' basement. Where we wanted to just kind of portray that very suffocating feeling of that tight enclosed space that you would get in a crypt, in a tomb. And it was more about generating a feeling than really telling the exact story of the lyrics. I think it's important to give some room for interpretation, but we wanted it to have enough elements of what the lyrics were trying to portray, that when you watch the video, when you listen to the song, it really evokes more than just a feeling, but it really causes a deep reaction to what you're experiencing. We want to create an experience.
That's something that we actually want to do across the board. We try to do, and it's a learning experience, so obviously if you haven't had a reaction to some of our music, then we failed, but that's okay. So we're going to try again.
The one thing that I always say that it really doesn't matter to me, don't take this the wrong way or whatever. It really doesn't matter to me what the artist intended. It's how the listener receives it.
Well, right.
Exactly.
And so the idea is that we have is to tell a story.
Yep.
You know, fundamentally, we want to tell a lyrical story. We want to tell a musical story. We want to tell a spiritual story. We want to tell an emotional story, you know. And so we try to incorporate all of those aspects into everything we do, from a stage show to just the writing of a single song to the compilation of an album or an EP. The goal is to tell a cohesive story throughout all of it. That's
Yep.
the end game. You know, whether people pick up on that or not, it's fine. I mean, it's what we're trying to do. And if they do pick up on it, fantastic. You know, but that's the goal.
Yep. And I always say that, music is to me, it's the most powerful medium out there.
Mhm.
You can watch a movie and yeah, do you put yourself in it? Not really, but you can watch it. You can enjoy it. Same with the TV show. You can read a book. I read a lot of books. I don't really, insert myself into that. But when you listen to music, it's something about the music that you can really put yourself into and become part of it. And that's why I kind of say, it's how the listener reacts to it. And having not only Coffin Black, but your newest one, Welcome to Nowhere. That one really, man, I was like listening to that. And when the chorus drops, see the chorus of the bridge, the Lay Me Down to Sleep part.
Mm.
Man, when that drops, I'm just like, okay, I don't know if I should be creeped out by this or if I should be inspired by this. And I
Yes.
end up being inspired by it. But when you hear it, I'm like, I mean, why didn't you just have like 17 children singing that in the background? Because you kind of get that creepy vibe with it. And then I'm like, oh no, this is so cool.
The creepy vibe is what we were going for. So that's good. Yay.
Okay, we're right there then. But I love how it says, I got to read it off, so I apologize for the flashes of remembering to numb my heart to nothing. I can't deny the truth I've made, so I retreat. You can't run and you can't hide. When I knew you guys on your bio, I think on Resurrection Records, it says that you met in the 12-step program. So I'm reading that and I'm going, man, we've all gone through these struggles and these times. Um, 20 years ago, I was a person that you probably didn't want to hang out with a whole lot, but we've gone through that and we try to run from that and you try to hide from that. But you know what? You got to face it. And if you face it alone, you're going to fail. And you got to face it with the one true king behind you and knowing that and how to get that message out to people gets daunting at times. Music like yours, you can kind of bridge that gap. Or I might be completely wrong and I'm an idiot. I don't know.
No, that's definitely the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of that stems from, like, me personally. Um, a lot of my big influences were from the mid '90s up to the mid 2000s, when you had the heyday of the grunge and post grunge and new metal and that whole era, and there was so much emotion tied up in all of those. Whether you like the music or not, sort of inconsequential. But what you can't deny is there was so much emotion tied up in all that stuff, and they were all telling this story. And there's bands like Pillar. I remember when Pillar came out with a Fireproof album.
Great album.
Yeah. I was just sitting there. I was sitting there just belting some of their tunes out the window because of everything I was going through at the time. It was the only thing that was keeping me connected to myself and to God.
Yep.
Like, literally, it was that album. You know what I mean? And so if I'm experiencing that, and I have so many other friends that are into the heavier music, they're all going through the same thing. So I want to produce that for people. I want to share hope that way.
And
You
then
know
you
what I
end up,
mean?
then you
It's
end up
spoken to my life. I want to speak into theirs.
absolutely. And you end up with something like that that can resonate with a person for so long and direct you. Another thing, I just think that God puts certain things in your life. You mentioned Pillar. I absolutely love that album. I actually like their self-titled one before that also. I think the one song they had on there was Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the actual name of it, but you know, you never know where he reaches. Rob probably didn't think that he was going to influence Crimson Overtone when he sang that and when he wrote that. So you never know who you're going to influence down the line.
Right.
So you go from almost, I would say that was almost rapcore at the time, their first albums.
Yeah.
The greatest genre ever invented, by the way. But
Go check Tricord out.
I love Tricord. I really do. And their new cut is ridiculous.
Right?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Jermaine is awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude. We're friends on Facebook, so he puts some pretty cool posts out there. I really kind of dig on him too. So we've got an interview set up with them coming up here too. So that's good.
Tell Charles I said what's up.
Let's get back to you guys. So signing with Resurrection Records, how did that come about? Because you're like,
that's a Tricord story.
It is.
nice.
So look, in all seriousness, we call, and Tricord calls us, our sister band, because we met at Murray Hill Theater down in Florida, and just clicked. And so we played a lot of shows with them. They played a lot of shows with us. And Jermaine actually, did he get a hold of Rob? I don't remember.
Yeah, he got a hold of Rob after they got signed. Jermaine reached out to Aaron and said, "Hey, you've got to check out Crimson Overtone.
Yeah.
That's a band that's worth your time." And so Aaron reached out to Rob because that was the common connection at the time. He looked into our stuff. He really liked kind of what we stood for, what we were doing with our music, and the direction we were headed. And he reached out to us at the beginning of the year, back in January. And I still remember Rob called and he got us all on this big conference call, and he's like, "So, y'all want to get signed to a label?"
Wow, 2 years in on a band, that ain't bad, huh?
No, not so
not bad at all.
So you guys, you talk about going on the road and stuff like that. You guys are kind of road warriors there, aren't you, for a while?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw your post the other day. You're kind of done for the year, but man, you look at all the shows that you've done. Have you been touring for 2 years?
I would say essentially yes, but it's been small things.
Okay, well, yeah.
We've been 2022 was, like I said, our very first year. We started in July of that year playing live. So we did, a couple shows throughout the end of that year. We did a couple of shows throughout 2023. But this year is when it really kind of snowballed and picked up to where we were playing 2 or 3 different cities a month, which was just insane.
And were you guys up at Kingdom Come? I thought I saw on your Facebook page that the stage from Kingdom Come Festival.
So we weren't at Kingdom Come Fest. We were at Pit Fest in 2023.
Yeah, where she was playing 8 months pregnant.
I was 8 months pregnant.
That is very cool. So Aaron calls you up. You guys get hooked up. How fast did it take you guys to get in the studio then? Did Aaron drag his feet or?
Well, so we record everything ourselves, and we've been using Rob as our producer throughout the year. Him and Evan kind of working together to mix and produce everything. So really, it was kind of, thankfully, a little bit more in our hands this year. Now, I will say, because of all of the touring that we did this year, and because of the traction we got from the record label, we weren't able to produce as much music as we wanted to. Okay. So going into the new year, that's going to be a big focus of ours, is trying to figure out, now that we're on this label and we've got this new traction and this big push, how we can balance producing the amount of content and writing the songs that we want to write, while also still keeping the momentum that we've built from all of the shows that we've been able to do this year.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, being that you can see the title of mine, Talentless Host, how do you go about that, juggling, the producing, the writing? Is it segmented out? Does someone just get an idea and say, okay, we've got to get this down now, we got to record this now? Or is it more of a long, drawn out process?
That really depends on the song, to be honest with you.
Okay,
there are some songs.
Welcome to Nowhere.
Huh?
Welcome to Nowhere. How about that?
Yeah, that song, it came about, no, I wouldn't say quickly, but it was very steady. It came about at a pretty steady rate. She and I spend a whole heck of a lot of time hashing out movements in the song and just how to make it interesting. We spend a lot of time with that. And that one, typically I'll come up with like a series of riffs, and then she'll typically have a series of lyrics that work with it because she writes a ton of lyrics. And then at that point, we will, hey, is that Alex? There's
I,
Alex. What's up, man?
I didn't mean to look like I was ignoring you guys, but I was ignoring you for a second. I heard every word.
No, it's all good. So anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought, but you can continue.
Yeah. I was gonna say he writes riffs and then I'll write lyrics, and then once in a while the riffs will match up with the lyrics, and thus a new song is born.
Yeah.
And once we've kind of hashed out what lyrics fit with what riffs, then we present it to the band, and the band refines it and creates kind of that final product that you guys hear.
And take everybody's input, and sometimes it becomes not initially what it started out as. Sometimes it comes out very close to what it started out as. So it's just, we have a song that called Right that we haven't released yet, and it developed organically in a day, like one practice. Boom, there it was.
Wow.
And there's other songs that we have stashed back that are 3/4 the way finished and half finished, and we're just kind of blocked on them. So it's really all over the board as to how long it takes to write a song.
Is there any way we can blame Alex on any of that?
No.
Alex is perfect.
Alex is perfect. Yes.
We all have issues, but Alex is.
And if you go to our shows, you will know.
And he'll tell you. Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I was just sitting around since the beginning, but I didn't want to interrupt, so I'm just chilling.
Well, I apologize. I didn't buzz you in sooner than this.
Yeah, it's all good. It's been good. So.
Well, yeah, it was so captivating. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should check the lobby, see if someone's hanging out there. So. Big apologies there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Alex appeared.
So yeah, we've kind of, if you've listened to everything, did you want to add anything before we move on to part of it that I really actually want to jump into?
I have nothing to add. I'm more of a silent partner. I think you're talking to the two correct people, so you're good.
Okay. So like I said at the very beginning, the music, cool. I dig on it. Anything metal, I dig on. I know an old white guy listening to metal and hip hop are my two favorite genres. I get it. But the ministry is what really, that's, I consider this kind of a partnership, right? You guys create the music, you guys put it out. You guys are the road warriors. You're the frontline warriors. You're the one that's going out there in the devil's, let's call it the devil's playground. I'm just grabbing onto coattails of the more talented and being the logistics behind the scenes. But when I look at bands that, I really want to play and promote and throw in the rotation, it has to be more than music. Otherwise you could throw anybody on, right? I mean, I could throw on, Scott Stapp and not even think about it and hate myself forever. But the ministry is what's so important. And, coming from the background you guys came from, can we talk just a little bit about how that either makes it easier for you to reach people that you minister to, either before or after, during the shows? How does that all come together?
I got to really, this is an important subject to me. This is the heart and soul of why I'm even playing. To be honest with you, is the opportunity to connect with somebody that otherwise feels unheard and unseen. And it's never like, it's always awesome to have a huge crowd you're playing in front of and everybody's like, yeah, we love the band. I mean, that's great. I love the energy. Don't get me wrong. Please come to our shows. I need the energy. Okay. So it's not about that though. It's about the one or two people that we see during or after the show that we actually get to connect with and have the opportunity to encourage, sometimes to pray with, sometimes to not. There's been several people that stand out in my mind over the last year where, it's literally just sort of happenstance. There was one young lady where I was dealing with an issue on the back of my head, and I've had surgery to have that fixed, which is fantastic. I feel much better now. But when we were up playing Pit Fest, the not Pit Fest, it was Danger Room. That's where it was. We were up there in Indiana playing at Danger Room up there, and the loudness was causing me to have minor dizzy spells. And so I'm trying to stay stable so we can get up. I can get up on stage and play, and not get this bad dizzy spell. And I went to sit outside, and there was a young lady out there, and just started talking with her. It turned out she was suffering from the backside of a concussion. So she was out there for the same reason I was, and we just started talking. By the end of the night, she really enjoyed the show and everything, and we got the opportunity to pray with and encourage her. And then a little while ago, she came to another show of ours, and we had another opportunity to pray with and encourage her. It's so awesome to see the Lord loving on people, and it's something that we don't go out and do. We're just sort of available. We're just there, right?
But a lot of times, that's all people need is that opportunity.
Yeah.
That just so they can see that, they can be standing in a crowd of people and feel alone, but that moment that you were outside and God gave you that little dizziness so you could step outside at the same time as she was out there, just to let her know that, guess what, I'm not alone.
Yeah, and it's funny because the second show where we saw that young lady, she came to our other show. It wasn't me this time that got to hang out with her. It was Rob and Christina.
Wow.
I mean, and it was just, man, it's just so cool. And there was another young lady at a show. I guess she was like 13 or 14. She was there with her dad and her sister, and her dad was awesome. He was in it, man. He was in it. I saw him from stage, and he was just like absorbed in the music, which was so cool. And so he brought them to come see us, after the show and everything. And just found out in the course of conversation that this young girl was having a hard time with folks picking on her at school, and I had the opportunity to encourage her, and so you just see these grins and these things, and people, I don't know, they just know that they're cared about in a moment. And that's really what does it for me. It's kind of like, I never met Pillar, but I felt like there was an identity that day. I was in my truck and just, you can't break me down. You know what I mean? It was just like there was a moment. And so to be able to provide those same moments that's where it's really all at for me. That's why I play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on a side note, I'll tell you, Rob is a really cool dude.
Cool.
Yeah. So back in the day when that actually came out, I used to be on terrestrial radio up in Minneapolis, had a show up there for a few years. And we were the only, in a city the size of Minneapolis, St. Paul, we were the only station and the only show that actually played heavier Christian music. And so I would always, not always, often I would DJ the bands that came through, and we got an opportunity to meet so many of the guys, and Pillar was always just so gracious. They would just sit there and talk. But getting back to yours on the one or two people, that's really what we were always talking about when the wife kept saying, get back into radio. That's what you always loved to do. And I said, well, here's the deal. We'll do internet radio. That way, I if I tick people off, they can't fire me, except my wife. She could fire me. But on the other hand, it's always about reaching that one.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of the goal of Radio 13 from the beginning, is all we got to do is reach the one. Because you never know where that seed that you plant, how far it goes. There's an artist out of New Orleans, Benny, from the band Empowered, great band. But he always gave me some great advice. And he said, Drew, it doesn't matter how many you're listening at the time. And I really reflect this when I listen to bands and go, and see bands, and there might only be 12 people there, but they play like there's 1,200. And he always said, you know what? He always said from the beginning, Drew, that you're doing it for one. And just to try to get that one into the kingdom. And he says, when you get to heaven, you turn around and you see that one has turned into thousands. That's the testimony. And he said that's a testimony for all bands too that are doing this.
what's really cool too, and the thing that really has impacted me this year with working with the label, is there's been a few shows where it's literally just been labels playing for label mates, you know,
Sure.
and those shows have turned out really fun, man. I mean, the camaraderie has been really good. But another thing that sticks out in my mind is one of the groups that we were playing with, you know, and this is just a reminder. This goes out where our ministry is not just focused on a specific demographic of people. Our ministry is focused on people. Alex and I had the opportunity to pray with and encourage one of the guys from the other bands. I mean, it was huge, man. It was a big deal for me because, like, I mean, I kind of felt like I heard the Lord say, go talk to him, go get Alex, go talk to him. Okay, so we did, and it was really really impactful. I mean, I know he was encouraged, you know, but it might have been more impactful for me because you get to see, like, even if you're not playing for this quote unquote audience, there's other people there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's anybody, right? It could be somebody in your own crew, and it's just the fact that you're there and your focus is on the hope that the Lord provides and the healing that He provides, and also sometimes the strength to stand when you have to stand. You know, when we need backup, we need people to prop us up, and sometimes it takes music to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's whatever it is, and that's what's so cool.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Alex, awful quiet there. I know you're a drummer and you're used to sitting in the back. You know, we got to pull you up front into the stage.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with Evan. This year was a tough year for us. Just the first time that we're really getting our feet wet as far as touring. So it has been really important to constantly be reminded of why we're doing it. Because, you know, we could just go play for a cover band or go play for a secular band and not worry about the spiritual aspect of things. And additionally, all of us have lives and all of us have struggles. You know, I know that it all looks like clean and prepared on the stage, but as Christina often says from the stage, you know, we all have stories and we all have things, and it's not all past tense. You know, when one becomes a Christian, not everything turns rosy. We still have struggles and things we got to deal with. We just have a new perspective. We have a new hope. And then obviously sometimes we're attacked even more because of what we're trying to do.
You'll always get attacked the hardest when you're getting ready for a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if you're not getting attacked, I don't want people to get attacked, but my mom and dad were both ordained ministers, and mom used to say, if the enemy is not hammering on you, maybe you're not doing enough. The enemy will come after you when he knows you're either going to do something, you're on the precipice of doing something, or you have a future to do something for the kingdom, and he'll pound on you. He'll absolutely pound on you, and it's God's way. You know, I mean, it's you know, unfortunately, we have to go through it, but you also got to separate the wheat from the chaff. So, you know, you've got to be stronger. And iron. Who had the shirt that said iron? Iron strengths iron. I think it's somebody in your band.
Yeah.
On the was that you in your promo shot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. So I stole it from your shirt. So there you go. But no, Alex, very true. Very true. I don't know if you know, you guys know Chaotic.
Yeah.
Travis, you know, I mean, they have become like family to us, in, you know, not just, you know, in the, as far as, you know, the radio artist relationship, but they truly have become family. And Kingdom Come last year, he told me the most wonderful thing when he gets there and he just prays before every set he plays. And he realizes that it doesn't matter how many people are out there, what it is, he's performing for an audience of one, and that's Jesus. And if he's performing for Jesus and he does it wholeheartedly in everything that Jesus wants out of it, it's going to be right for the person that needs to hear it. So I try to do that on the radio, but then I go off on these tangents like I just did. And people go, yeah, what are you doing, dude? And I'm like, I have no idea. done this too long.
Man. You're allowed to go on tangents. It's okay. If I have ADHD, I'm allowed to go on tangents too.
Yes.
Actually, I'm not, but I don't care.
I'm too shallow to care. So I'm shallow in the body and deep in the spirit, I guess. So what's on the horizon then for Crimson Overtone? I know you just dropped a Christmas song, which will add to the rotation. Working on new music for 2025.
Yes, we will hopefully at the top-ish of the year we've got an EP that'll be coming out. We've been playing the EP all year, so it should be it should be a good time for those who have been listening to us live. They'll finally be able to take the live experience home with them a little bit. We're really excited about dropping that, and of course we're, like he said, there's always stuff just in the background. There's always riffs, there's always lyrics that we like to work on and put together. So that's really exciting music wise. Speaking of chaotic, I know you may have seen this on Facebook here and there because we've partnered with CeeLo Productions for booking. And through Scott, he actually has put together the Awaken the Dead tour, which will be next June and July, with us and Ignescent and Chaotic Resemblance, as well as End of Eye, who is also on the Resurrection Records label. So we're really looking forward to that. It's gonna be a really good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Nice. That is awesome. So EP coming out early next year. Getting back on the road then, festival season next summer.
Yes, sir. We're hoping to use the summer as a time to sort of take everything that we have written during this season of not being out on the road so much and using that summer to kind of get everything recorded, so we've got some more stuff to put out in the fall and winter of next year when we're on the road again. We're hoping that maybe that'll give us a little bit better of a rollover, and like we were talking earlier, just kind of working on the balance between being able to produce music and being able to perform live.
Nice. So I know we've talked about it previously, and I know we're running late, and I apologize for bloviating and going so long. I always say I'm going to go at like 13 to 15 minutes. That never happens. I'm such a liar.
So good, man. I don't think we've had one interview yet that has gone that way. And it's fine because we enjoy it, and I think everybody else does too.
Yep, exactly. So we've already talked kind of the ministry, but if there's really one point you want to drive home as we're starting to wrap this up, for the people that either have not heard you live, haven't really, went to your table, your merch table afterwards, talked to you guys. If we're at a merch table now and somebody comes up with, man, I've been struggling with alcohol. I'll say that because it's a personal experience for me. Being the whole, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, not true. The old man has died, right? But as a former alcoholic, if somebody comes up and really struggling with that, do you just point them to, Welcome to Nowhere? I mean, quite frankly, that's what I get out of that song.
And that's hard because if people are coming up to the table, that's a lot of what, at least for me, what I like to do is be able to listen. Because the Spirit gives us discernment, right? The Spirit is what allows us to do ministry in the first place. If I'm just going to speak from my own experience or from my own wisdom and knowledge, it's never going to be enough. It's going to fall short every time. The biggest thing, at least for my heart for people, is that they understand that it doesn't matter what your hurt or your habit or your hang up is. God does still have a plan for you, and he does have life after those things. And he doesn't promise us easy life. He promises life more abundant, more struggle, more trial, more tribulation, but also more joy and more peace in the middle of that.
And more victory.
And more victory over those things.
Yep.
Because it's not anything that we can do by our own strength. I think everybody that's hurting and that's dealing with something, whatever that something is, everybody is looking for that acceptance. Everybody's looking for that identity, that something to make them feel like more than just a blip on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different ways that we can kind of numb those feelings, that we can hide from those feelings, whether that's through substance or whether that's through, escapism, or whether that's through relationships. But ultimately, all that stuff is going to let us down, and it's going to feel good for a time until it doesn't. And we write about that a lot. And I just, at the end of the day, I just want, especially those people that are in the middle of all that, to know that it's okay to hurt, and it's okay to struggle, because there is something greater than the pain and the struggle and the hurt, or whatever it is you're going through. There is someone that is so much greater than all of that, and will 100% cover everything that you've ever done, because he loves you that much that he doesn't want you to stay stuck in that.
And the kicker is, it's not that it will cover, it's that it is covered.
It has covered, yes.
And that's a
Past
reality.
tense.
That's a reality that's really hard to explain, and it's hard to process.
Yeah.
It's like we can't judge anyone because we've all already been forgiven. It's just a matter of being able to, he's the one that has to get in there to help us process it.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Like, there's not a routine that's going to fix it. There's not a religion that's going to fix it. There's not a relationship that's going to fix it. There's not any kind of escape, quote unquote, that's going to fix it. Nothing is going to fix it. And there is a person, though. And if we need and want that person, then he makes himself available. And he's, I mean, a perfect story for that. And I know this is about us, but if you've ever heard Jermaine's testimony from stage, it's literally that. He talks about that, how he was not a God person,
Right.
Didn't want anything to do with it. And he was like, at a specific moment in times, God, if you're there. But he meant it.
Yeah.
And he needed it. And boom. And I'll let him tell the story, obviously, but that's the deal. That's the reality. Like, it's nothing that we can make up, but it is something that he'll do.
Absolutely.
It's something he's done.
Yeah.
It's something that he'll continue to do.
And you know what? Sometimes it takes just a ton of prayer for people to realize that. And when people realize that, we talk often on the show about everything that man has done for me, all the dirt that I've done in my life, all of it, just like you said, it's already been paid for. It took me a long time to recognize that. It took me a long time to realize that the 39 whips on his back was because of me. But once I realized that someone loved me that much, it was so much easier for me to accept who I was and move on. And as you say, the seasons that we all go through, the struggles that we have, whether it be anxiety, medicated, alcoholism, depression, all of that becomes a powerful testimony for the next person that you have to talk to, and that you have to break through, and that they have to receive that and receive Jesus into their lives. So, amen, brother. Man, that was good. That was good.
I just had this one thought that I feel like I need to share. There's a verse that talks about temptation, but I don't want to put that scripture in the light and pigeonhole the concept of temptation. What I want to do is I want to focus in on the last section. It says, when we're tempted, he provides a way of escape. So I don't want to focus on the temptation, because temptation is so big and it covers so many things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to focus on that he provides a way of escape. One of the things that I've personally dealt with is feeling like there's no way of escape from the things that were literally killing me from the inside out. And because of scriptures like that, and because of bands like Pillar and Skillet, and I mean, you name them, pick one, it doesn't matter. There's a bunch of them out there. Because of bands like that, there is a way of escape. He provides, and that's the thing. He provides the way of escape.
Yeah.
And I can't tell anybody what that way of escape is, because the thing that everybody wants to escape from is different, right? But he provides the way of escape. He's the one, because he loves us so much. And if we if we really want that escape, he will provide it every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. Amen. So where can people find you on your Facebook page?
We are Crimson Overtone on all of the places. If you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, a little bit of TikTok. Haven't done a lot with it, but it's there. We're there.
Okay.
But we're Crimson Overtone or Crimson Overtone Band on all of those platforms. If you look us up, you should be able to find us. And then we also have our website, which kind of encompasses all of those things as well. That's crimsonovertone.com. Once again, it is crimsonovertone.com for your viewing pleasure.
There are lyrics on there too.
What radio?
Yes, all of our lyrics are on our website as well.
Yeah, I noticed that. I like that too. I like that. And then, as far as, what I like to say, as far as, bands out there, I know you're just signed, but, you're really just coming out of that independent band motif. So here's the deal. Crimson Overtone, great band. Do what you can to support them. You guys have a merch store?
Yes, that's also on our website. You can find pretty much all of the merch that we have at our table is on our website. There are a couple things that are exclusive to the merch table, but if it's not there and you want it, you can always send us a message and we will make it for you.
And we will love to have a message.
Yes.
We would love to say, oh, look, people like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We want to hear from
Absolutely.
people. Come tell us your stories and stuff. It'll be
Yes, yes. And if anybody out there has pictures from a show, we've got a section on the website where you can post your pictures from the show just be a part of the crew,
And you
Yeah,
get
there is.
spotlighted on there too. I saw that. You get spotlighted on your website.
Yes, we have a fan spotlight on our website, and nobody's left us messages yet. So if you've listened to us or seen us live, go leave a message. But it's supposed to be a place that brings the community together. So
Yeah.
if you've taken pictures with us, or if you've done anything where you're like wearing your Crimson Overtone T-shirt or you're at a show, we always love to get those pictures from our fans. And we always will go and put them up on our website. Same with the messages. We do approve them first so that people can't just write whatever they want. But, you can also go to that same page, the photos page on our website, and it'll give you an opportunity to leave a message about, your experience or your story or, things that, experiences that you've had with the band. So that you can, again, we want to build community. We want to create a space where people can come together under one kind of shared common interest.
Yeah, and honestly, their stories can affect other people too. Ultimately,
Exactly.
that's what it's all about: is sharing your stories about your positive experiences and how the Lord's been good to you, and that affects other people. It's gonna encourage somebody.
Because it's not just the power of one, wherein if we change one life, then they might go change other people. Like every person's story has a purpose
Right.
in the kingdom of God. There's a scripture I love that says, he comforts us in all afflictions so that we can comfort others with the comfort with which we've been comforted, which always makes me laugh because it's comfort.
Yes,
But
it's very fun to say comfort that many times.
But it's so true. Like it's the power of one story, because that one story can impact somebody else. So like your one creates another one, which creates another one, and so on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The band is Crimson Overtone. Do what you can to support them. We always say streaming music. That's fine. That's great. They can get their 0.025 cent for each stream. Better yet, if you can afford it, get out there and, buy a hat, buy a shirt, do what you can. At the very least, download a song. Don't, like I say, streaming is great. Download a song wherever you're buying music from. Definitely pick up Welcome to Nowhere. It is a killer track. Absolutely love it. I just want to thank all of you guys for jumping in and spending a little bit of time with me. And I apologize if I've taken us off the rail one or two times. If it's less than 6, it's successful. That's the way I look at it. So great talking to you guys. Great seeing you guys. Looking forward to even more music coming out. Say hey to Aaron for me. I love Aaron. Great dude. You guys are in great hands as far as a record label goes. But yeah, seriously, just keep cranking out the music and keep fighting for the kingdom like I know you will. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. You too, man. Thank you so
much.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
And we're out.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, that was good. Thank you very much. Again, I apologize for going almost an hour. So
No, it's all good, man. Like I said, we do this all the time.
This tends to happen. It doesn't matter if it's just like two of us or if it's
Yeah.
all of us. I used to say it's because there's 5 of us in the band, and everybody talking just takes two. No. Apparently, even with just 3 of us, it's well.
Aaron
There's
and
just a lot of
Aaron and I
content.
talked for
man.
an hour and a half, man. It was crazy.
There's just a lot of content. I mean, I feel like in this ministry and the genre with the people that we're reaching, there's just a lot of content. I mean, you can't gloss over it.
Yep. That's why I need to do these more often, and instead of waiting months like I did with Aaron, I just need to continue to do this a little bit more often with all these bands, and just check in with bands every couple months and say, hey, what's up, what's going on.
I'm gonna tell you who you probably would get a kick out of talking with is Iron Man and his crew.
Stained Red.
With Stained Red.
Stained Red, yeah. I play them quite often. Their new song Wolves is ridiculous.
It is awesome. Yeah. Iron Man is a fascinating individual. He's a pastor.
He sent me a message the other day. Wants to get together. We just haven't got a date yet on when we're going to get together and chat.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that too. So
yeah, cool crew. A lot of fun to play with.
Yeah, between that and Patrick from
yeah.
Oh,
3 days under.
3 days under.
Yeah, that's a fantastic crew. A lot of fun to play with too.
Yeah, he is
They're
dude,
awesome.
man. Patrick is a dude.
Yeah, they're so fun.
Yeah. I got a chance to talk with him a couple years ago at Kingdom Come. He's a trip. He's a trip. So well, guys, again, thank you very much. Alex, sorry about not buzzing you in right away. Big apologies. I love your Georgia accent, by the way. I meant to mention that. It's that southern drawl you have. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Where is that? Is that Russian or is that Eastern Europe somewhere, right?
No, my parents were Cuban and I was born in Mexico.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Michigan. No, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. We'll be continuing the spin. I got you guys on the next live show, which I believe is going to be coming up Friday. So we'll be playing Welcome to Nowhere on Friday on the live show.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, guys. God bless. Thank you very much.
All right, man.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Yeah, Alex.